Okay, so we've got two boards set up here. The red board there is the Olimex, which is acting as our onboard computer, and the bluey-green board there is an Arduino, which is acting as the EPS, which is basically the battery power system. What we've got there, we've got the EPS and the Olimex board connected up via I2C, and coming out of the Olimex board into the computer are two cables, which is the blue and pink cable over there, which are serial ports. The blue cable is printing out output from the onboard computer, and the pink cable is connected to the computer, interfacing with a comms module and the SCS, which is our satellite control software. So the first script is going to be basically a script showing how the states change on the onboard computer. So we're going to move from a normal state to a communicating state to an EPS low state and then to an EPS OK state. This will be demonstrated when we run the script. So we're about to run the first script. We're going to just redirect it from standard input. So this is running now. It'll take a while to crunch everything on the onboard computer and send the response back. So here now we've got the response back. As you can see, the first two commands, the first state we're in was normal. The second state we're in is communicating, because as the communication starts, the onboard computer moves to the communicating state. Nextly, we get the EPS status. So the battery starts at 50%. It's currently discharging, and as you can see, the onboard computer's on, the EPS is on, but all the other modules are off. Finally, as we said, we put it in the EPS recovery, so the state it moved into is the onboard OBC recovery state, and then finally we move back into the normal state. So the second script is just going to send a message to be logged on the onboard computer, and the message it's going to be sent is hello world. Now we start running the second script. This one here, as you can see, there's instantly been the message logged on the computer, which is hello world. So the third script here is basically it's just going to schedule some commands with some time limits on them, and this means that when that time is reached by the onboard computer, those commands are going to be executed and we'll see the result on the SCS. Alright, so we're about to run script 3, which was the one which will schedule things to certain times. So we've started it now. It'll take a little bit of time for the onboard computer to reach that minute 30 mark and start executing the commands. When it starts executing the commands, you'll see it appear on this screen. So as you can see now, it started executing. Basically this is printed out on the terminal of the onboard computer. We then get our first response back. So we get the EPS battery status, which was sent at time 1:30, as you can see by the response. Next we turn the SU on, as you can now see has appeared on the computer. Then the SU gets turned off, and then finally we send another lot of the EPS status at a minute 45. As you can see, all of those commands got executed. And finally, the last thing we printed out was that we'd finished running the third script.
The fourth script is going to run for a little longer this time, about 10 minutes. Firstly, we're going to run a power-intensive instrument called the MASP. After that, we'll gather the status of the EPS. After about 10 minutes and 45 seconds, we'll gather the EPS status once more, and we'll also turn off the MASP device. And about a second later, we'll get the EPS status once again.
We're just going to run the fourth script now. As you can see, the first thing that it's going to do is it's going to show that the MASP has now turned on. That's the onboard computer telling us this message. Next, we're going to send the status to get the status from the EPS, and as you can see, the MASP is now turned on, and we're currently at 49% battery. It's been discharging for a while now. Now we're going to wait basically in 10 minutes time. It's going to request again the EPS status, and hopefully we'll be able to see that the battery is drained a little bit more. Okay, as you can see now, that on the OBC's terminal, the MASP is now turned off, and we now get a couple of responses from the EPS based on the status. So at 10:45, we got the EPS status showing that the MASP was still on. This was before we turned it off, and the battery percentage was at 48%. The next one, directly underneath it, shows battery percentage still the same, but you can see now that the MASP is turned off.